In this video, we're going to be exploring the connection between polar coordinates and Cartesian equations. Now, something I've mentioned when I teach, always mention when I teach parametric equations, is very often one of the first things we learn is how to convert parametric into Cartesian. And in a way that's misguided, because the whole point of parametric and polar coordinates is to free ourselves of the constraints of Cartesian. So why would we want to convert back? Well, usually we don't, but it's useful to make the connection now. We're more familiar with Cartesian, with x's and y's, so it's just good to make the connection first. But bear in mind that the whole point of polar coordinates is to rid ourselves of the restrictions of the Cartesian system. So let's just begin by establishing the key connections. So in polar coordinates, we don't so much care about the x and y coordinates. We care about how long this line is, that is the distance from the origin, and what this angle is. Now, sort of obvious with you're familiar with these ideas a bit from complex numbers, the idea of a modulus and an argument, and it's kind of similar, but we don't tend to connect those two concepts too strongly. But be aware that the idea of a distance from the origin and an angle is familiar from complex numbers, hopefully. Now, something that you know from complex numbers, and we can make the link here, and it's an obvious point, is that the distance from the origin can be calculated, or at least related to, the coordinates of this point. And in particular, it's simply Pythagoras, right? The distance from the origin, r squared, is equal to x squared plus y squared. Right? If we were to think about a right angle triangle here, its height is the y value and its base is the x value, and the hypotenuse is r. So r squared is x squared plus y squared. We can also make connections between r theta and the x values and the y values by saying, well, in terms of r and theta, what is this length here? Well, this length down here is r cos theta. But what is that? Well, that is just the x value. So we also have that the x value is r cos theta. And similarly, the height here is r sine theta. So y is equal to r sine theta. So if we want to make that connection, we always have it. X is r cos theta, y is r sine theta, r squared is x squared plus y squared. And finally, if we divide these, if I do y divided by x, we get the result where the r's cancel and we're left with sine theta over cos theta, which is tan theta. So these four results, and in particular the top three, are ones that we're going to use anytime we want to make connections with Cartesian. So let's think about how we might convert a polar curve into a Cartesian. So let's take a really simple one, just the curve r equals 4. Now this is essentially saying whatever the angle, the distance to the origin is always 4. Now you can probably imagine the shape you get if you take all the points a distance of 4 from the origin. I mean, it's just a circle with radius 4. So we can kind of think our way to this one without doing any algebra. I will show you the algebra. So whatever the angle, the distance is always 4, and that is just a circle. So the answer is going to be x squared plus y squared equals 4 squared. But of course, we could have got that algebraically by saying we know that r squared is x squared plus y squared. So if we started by saying r squared equals 4 squared, and then using our identity that r squared is x squared plus y squared, that gives us the same equation of a circle. Slightly fiddlier. What about the curve r equals 1 plus cos theta? This is our beautiful cardioid shape. So what's our route into this? Well, we want no r's and no thetas at the end of this. So we're going to use our three results. Our three results are r squared equals x squared plus y squared. We're going to use x equals r cos theta, and we're going to use, well, maybe use y equals r sine theta. So this r here, that can be dealt with by just, well, we could just call that the square root of x squared plus y squared. I'm not going to do that just yet for reasons I'll explain in a moment. but that's not causing us a problem. The problem comes from this cos theta. So how do I get rid of cos theta? Well, cos theta is no good, but r cos theta would be fine. So step one is to actually multiply through by r. When I do that, I get r squared equals r plus r cos theta. Now, r cos theta we can replace with x. So I've got r plus x, and then r squared I can replace with x squared plus y squared. So it's just that r that we have to deal with. Now, that I can just represent as the square root of x squared plus y squared. Now, experienced mathematicians like you will know that whenever you square root something, you want it to be, well, you have to consider the fact it could be positive or negative. So now is a good time to state an important result, which is that the r in our polar equations is always positive. So if you ever end up with a situation where the r that you're getting is negative, we actually don't even consider that as a valid point. So that's okay, we can just use the positive square root. It's going to look kind of ugly, but we can deal with that a little bit. We have x squared plus y squared equals the square root of x squared plus y squared plus x. And we could actually deal with this now by just getting everything over on this side apart from the square root, and then squaring everything. So x squared plus y squared minus x equals root x squared plus y squared. And we could square everything to get x squared plus y squared minus x all squared equals x squared plus y squared. And that is the rather monstrous Cartesian equation of this lovely cardioid shape. So that's the idea. We're basically problem solving, just solving puzzles with these, trying to get rid of the r's and the thetas. Let's take a look at another. Maybe you can have a go at this one yourself first. Okay, so what's causing us the problems here? It's that cos 2 theta. Now, we know how to deal with cos theta, but not cos 2 theta. So recall that x is r cos theta. Well, we can convert cos 2 theta into some version of cos theta using the double angle formula, which is r equals 3 plus, and then we have 2 cos squared theta minus 1. Neatened up a bit, that gives us 2 plus 2 cos squared theta. Well, cos squared theta, let's find that. If x is r cos theta, then x squared is r squared cos squared theta. And that means that cos squared theta is x squared over r squared. And that's good news because r squared, recall, is x squared plus y squared. So look what we've got. We've got r, which I can replace with root x squared plus y squared, is equal to 2 plus 2 cos squared theta. So that is 2x squared over r squared, and r squared is x squared plus y squared. Let's then neaten all this up by squaring both sides. We wouldn't actually need to do that necessarily, but we get x squared plus y squared equals, well, I'm not going to spend too much time trying to make this pretty. If a question in an exam came up, they may ask you to represent it in a particular form, but if not, then that's fine. All right, let's have a look at another one. Again, pause the video if you want to give this a go yourself first. So here we're trying to go the other way, which is to convert a line, a Cartesian line, into polar form. Well, to do that, we're just using the two results that y equals r sine theta and x equals r cos theta. And our aim is to get an equation, if we can, in the form r equals some function of theta. So we've got r sine theta equals 2r cos theta plus 1. And we want to get r on its own, so let's bring all r's to one side. R sine theta minus 2r cos theta. Factorise out the r, leaving us with sine theta minus 2 cos theta equals 1. And now we have our polar equation, 1 over sine theta minus 2 cos theta. So what we can learn from this is that Cartesian has its place and polar has its place. If you want to represent a line, polar is not a great way to do it. This is an incredibly complicated way of thinking about a straight line. But polar has its place as well. If you want to deal with a cardioid, well, Cartesian is a pretty complicated way of doing it. So they each have their place, and knowing how to bounce back and forth between the two is pretty useful. Okay, so that's how we convert between Cartesian and polar, and in the next video we're going to explore some standard curves that you should know.